People, deluded. Now, Leicester have beaten Arsenal 3-0. Clean sheet, whitewashed us. If it was FIFA, we'd have to pass the pad. And I feel sorry for the away fans, same way I felt sorry for them against Wolves, to be fair. Same way I felt sorry for myself for having to watch us lose to Palace. Shout out to my guy Lee Gooner for busting me on that ticket. I mean, I know he's pretty happy he didn't go Palace at home for that. But I can't speak for everybody, people, but I know myself. I've been praising Unai Emery. I'm a fan of Unai Emery. I feel Arsenal fans in general this season, and a lot of football, but specifically this season, we're speaking in a lot of extremes. When it was 22 unbeaten, and for instance, I was asking the question, you look at games like the 5-1 against Fulham or against Cardiff, we're turning around games in the second half. People were just shutting it up, saying how the side's revitalised, we're back, we're this and that, and things of that nature. Then people kind of started to think, okay, cool. As great as Unai Emery might be in a tactical genius and stuff, is there something sometimes wrong in his approach? Because if he's having to make all of these changes. So we've been chopping and changing. We hit form at the best time against in March when we had Spurs and United. If we wanted top four, we had to pass that test. We got out of that hurdle. Obviously the Europa League thing as well. We got into April. You needed more of the same. People that never had a chance, never put Arsenal down as a snowball's chance of top four, were saying we can get top four. Rival fans too. It was in our hands. The fixture list looked favourable. I told you it wasn't. But you're looking at away games. The same way, when faced with adversity, we got out of it with 4 points against Spurs and United. You're looking at the players to do this again, and they choked. And I believe the majority of the blame is with the players. They choked. They choked today against Leicester, 3-0. Conceded 3 against Palace, 3-2. Bit of a different game, but same nonetheless. Choked against Everton. Who else did we choke against? So that's Leicester, Wolves as well. Sandwiched in between that in April, we've had a 1-0 victory against Watford. Again, I don't want to say ifs and buts and things, but if Watford didn't go down to 10 men, would it have been only 1-0? You could say yes, you could say no. Obviously, Newcastle, fair play, we won it. But if I'm asking all these questions of Unai Emery, no, if I'm praising him, and bigging up the team when they're doing all these good things, then I have to ask questions when things are not going right. I feel we were galvanised last month. This month, not so. And for me, like I said, the players have to take the blame, because if I'm one of these players and we have a chance, and I'm playing in this side, and our context of me being a footballer at Arsenal is to get into the top four because we want to be there, because of the endorsements and everything I could possibly get in the team, just because of having a goal, because of the opportunity we found ourselves in this season. I wouldn't need Unai Emery to tell me that, innit. I know what I've won and lost in good times and bad times. I wouldn't need Unai Emery to motivate me. That's what I want to do, innit. So at the end of the day, the players know what's at hand. They're professional athletes. The players are the ones choking at the end of the day. But I have to ask, is Unai Emery getting a reaction out of them? Again, I haven't seen the post comments. I just browsed quickly. But again, I'm not saying you have to attack your players, but he's defending them. He's taking all the blame. Somewhat delusional, and this comes from deluded to a slight degree, in that he's saying we played well and things. And I know Unai Emery is an intelligent man. He doesn't believe a word he's saying. In private, that's going to be something different. But he protected them before, and I was thinking, alright, cool. Even with the Mustafi thing I made a video about, I said he was right to do that, because I believe he was. Because even privately, I think he's told Mustafi, well, go on, you need to fix up, you need to this and that. But in terms of a reaction and confidence, time of the season, I think he was hoping that, knowing that his manager trusts him in this bad sort of form he's in, he kind of gets through it. Now, if we relate that same example to how our form's been and how he's been defending us, and he kept talking about the red card today, which is valid, but it's not really a factor in my opinion. Could that be the same logic? And I believe, there's 2 games now, 3 games left, 3 games prior. You're not going to get a reaction. I'm not saying to dig players out, but it's time to say things for what they are. And I have to wonder, are you getting a reaction? Is there a reaction? Because you can look at our results, and obviously I've sandwiched them in between together, but it's chronologically, we've done all right. You look at April, completely irrelevant to the league. We kept a clean sheet against Sorry, people checking the scores. We kept a clean sheet against Napoli. Who would have thought we'd do that? Definitely away from home. We got through against Watford away, which is a tough game for us. We did it. And we beat Newcastle at home. We took advantage. But by the same token, towards the end of the month, our home form went out the window with that performance against Palace and shooting ourselves in the foot. Poor from set pieces for MacArthur's goal. Poor from balls over the top, obviously, for Zaha to score. Then obviously we went and done the same thing against Wolves. poor. Obviously, Neves' goal was a banger. They were hitting us on the counter, and we started poorly like we did today. But that was a good goal. But the other 2 goals could have been avoided from an Arsenal standpoint. And again, it's a regular theme. Set pieces, long balls, we're failing to deal with them. And why can we get reaction? It's because Unai Emery got these players playing like that, playing well. But the last few weeks, last 3-4 games, it's gone out the window. So obviously the players are nervous, the players are feeling sorry for themselves. Ultimately they're bottling and choking. But also have to ask questions of Unai Emery. Is he getting a reaction from them? Because we're making the same mistakes we weren't making at the start in terms of set piece defending. We're now making it and we're not reacting to it. I've said it before, and obviously with injuries and suspensions, hands are forced. But 1 minute is 4 at the back away from home, which is dangerous. And ironically now you've seen how it can be negative to a degree for us in that we get outshone. 5 at the back at home against Palace and allowing them to come onto us versus going at them sort of thing. So set pieces, obviously the away form, just a reaction. I have to ask questions. I have to. Today, 20 minutes or so in, we only made 20 odd passes. At half time, 100 or so passes to 300 odd by Leicester. Possession doesn't win games, people. It doesn't equals games. But in terms of the outset, what are we doing? Again, the blame is with the players because we're at the point of the season, you know exactly what you have to go out there and perform, and they're the ones playing, so they choked. But I have to question how we're going about trying to win these games, because from a tactical point of view, we're easy to figure out in the last few weeks. You know set pieces, we've been shocking. You know counter-attacks. I know, and again, a lot of this isn't going to change overnight, and it has been the case not just for now, but this season. But we've been figured out, and just in terms of getting complacency, possibly going back to basics that were taken for granted, that we initially worked very hard on earlier in the season, we need to go back to basics because of Leicester, set pieces, long balls. Palace the same. Everton, obviously we were sleeping for that for Jagielka's goal, but these are all avoidable goals, and we're doing the same thing. And I'd also say with the chopping and changing, players have been rested in the last few weeks, obviously injuries as well, but there's not been any difference in anybody that's playing. And I'd also say as well, from a pet peeve, I've been wondering why doesn't he go back to a 3 in midfield, a proper 3. You can do your 10 thing as well, not a 10 and a pivot, because the pivot hasn't been working, especially away from home. It got overrun against Everton. It got overrun against Wolves. It got overrun again today. It doesn't matter who has been in the pivot, really. So do we revert back to our normal thing? We need to go back to basics. We've got Valencia this week. We've lost to City. It is what it is. We've dropped 12 points this month. It is what it is. Top 4 is out of it. Mathematically, again, United are going to kick off in an hour or so against Chelsea. You're hoping both draw. I think United is possibly going to win, which would move us into 6th. Spurs can be caught and they're on 70 points, but all they've got to do is literally win one more game, and they're getting top 4. I've said it. Spurs have got top 4. Don't worry about it. Spurs fans, you got top 4. Chelsea, people have spoken a lot of crap about your team, and you can put humble pie and egg on faces and laugh at people who got at Surrey Ball via getting top 4. United, it's in your hands. Lost against City. I thought they would have got 4 points these next 2 games. I think they're going to beat Chelsea. Of course, I hope to be wrong. I hope for a draw. But it's a difficult spot for us because now we've got Burnley, who at this moment in time are actually playing against Manchester City, and it's 43 minutes in. Again, unless they score, they're remaining rigid and holding well. So against us, it's going to be more of the same. And whether it's home or away, we know Burnley give us a tough time. We've got Brighton at home, last home game of the season. Going to need to take 3 points. No disrespect, Brighton, but we probably will. In fact, at this point in time, we probably won't. And are Brighton safe yet? Surely Brighton are mathematically safe now. There's not much to play for. But they might be one of them teams that turns into Barcelona when they come and buck us. We've got a lot to do. We've got a lot to do. We've got a ridiculous lot to do, and you're just looking at the Europa League now. Like the players spoke about Xhaka specifically, not just him, but Xhaka said we want to get into the Champions League via 4th, not Europa League. Socrates was out here saying the same. Every one of these players was saying the same. So they know themselves they've dropped the points. But I have to ask questions of everybody, and I think Unai Emery is the man for the job. But that doesn't mean I can't question things. And I think even if you look at a couple of my vids, people that don't understand what I'm trying to get at. You need balance. He hasn't been poor at all. There's a lot of Unai Emery haters already. There's a lot of fans talking in extremes. We need to consider all bases, and as much as he has to work with the players he's got and things like that, you have to ask questions of everybody, because what was that today, really and truly? What was that today? What were you lot working on all week, and what did the players go out there and do? That's not on, people. That's away from top 4, away from the banter other teams do to each other. What was that, realistically, people? It was shocking. On that moment, though, on that point, better yet, I'm out of here, people. Deluded, I'm out. In fact, in fact, I got some more points, really and truly. I just seen them. We talk about the Arsenal-Leicester game, for example. These off, you lot know I've got one less man, so this is gonna be our Lacazette. I'll put him slightly deeper in it. We lined up with a 4-4-2 of sorts. That's the back four, people, excluding the keeper. Yeah, use your brain. There's a keeper. Now, if you're Harry Maguire, if you're any of these players there, yeah, you know you're scared to play against Aubameyang and Lacazette. Come on, banter aside, he kept them in his pocket, blah blah blah. But you're scared to play against them. But what I thought I would see would be something like this. Out of play, it was a 4-4-2. It was a bit different. But I thought I would see Aubameyang, Lacazette, possibly the wingers squeezing as well, which we have seen in a couple games, people. We have seen that. But today, I don't know if it was Gooner who told them, okay, let's just keep our shape and hit them. Because I'll get onto it. But this is what I was seeing, people. It looked like we were narrow. And we're going to be on here for a minute. But it looked like we were narrow. And obviously, Maguire's a good ball player. The fullbacks can go at this moment in time now, people, yeah? So we was allowing them to play, and obviously you saw Maddison and all them players, the spaces they were picking up on. That didn't help us, people. Another point I would also like to make in regards to Aubameyang and Lacazette would also be at times they were going into old habits. At times Aubameyang wanted to get into the channels where Lacazette was coming very deep. At times it worked immediately when they done that and it became like a 5 in midfield. But times Aubameyang's going there, Lacazette's deep here, Lacazette's doing his thing there, he's there. I even saw Lacazette, quite rightly so, covered for Torreira. That's all good. But think about it, people. If Aubameyang's out there, cool, that's a threat for a centre-half to deal with, getting in a foot race. But if Aubameyang's out there and Lacazette's doing his thing here, people, all you got to do is come up as a line. Aubameyang's offside if he doesn't come in, people. He has to. So that allows your fullbacks. You can say, go on, fullbacks, go and do your thing. And we're out of the game quickly, innit? That's what I was a bit disappointed with as well, people, mainly. I was quite disappointed in that. I've messed up what I was good. I completely forgot the next point I wanted to show you lot, people. Yeah, on that topic though, I don't know what Unai Emery's told them, but if it was a thing where, okay, cool, let's not press them, let's hold our shape and force them to play out wide, to which Mkhitaryan in theory, Maitland-Niles, who was playing left wing, Iwobi and Kola, in theory, should be able to deal with that sort of thing. But it didn't work. For me, the midfield, I don't even need to... I can't even show you it. Just there's not even an example. I need to be in Sky Sports or something. But Torreira and Xhaka were quite poor, man. And to be fair, all the goals were poor. You lot saw a simple ball over the top. Well, do you know, I'll speak about the third goal. I believe it was the third. We'll get onto it. It's not that one now. But one thing that annoyed me, yeah, and it wasn't just him. It's the tip of the iceberg, people. I'm making a random scenario. We're gonna be the team in the red. Leicester are them man there, yeah. Do you lot remember Telemann's goal? I've been banging on all season midfield runners. How many times has a midfielder, whether it was Lingard away from Lingard at home at his own pitch in the league at Old Trafford, at our place in the FA Cup, not in the FA Cup, yeah, in the FA Cup when they took us out, Milner, several occasions midfield runners are not being tracked, and many people are guilty. You saw, obviously, when Telemann scored, there was some play going down. One thing that annoyed me was this. Xhaka. Oh, no, sorry, that's not it. That's Xhaka. It's not just him, because everybody did it, but it's just simple midfield runs. Telemann's just makes a run. He just makes a run. By then, Koscielny's not even aware either. He makes a run. Obviously, he's onside at this point. He just simply makes a run. Maddison finds him, and you know the rest, people. Again... I don't want to show such a basic example, people. But just don't even focus on the example, because you don't know. I shouldn't even have to use this stuff. Balls over the top, boys. Balls over the top. Balls over the top, boys. We play a high line. We are chasing the game, so there's always a risk of being caught on the counter. 2-0 I could have accepted because of that. But it's a simple ball from Kasper Schmeichel again, over the top. These lot are not communicating. One goal, the other drop. Ideally Socrates because he's faster. No, neither goal. I don't know what they're doing, if they're gambling or what. Obviously, you see Vardy come off the crossbar and eventually pull it in the back of the net. And I don't even know how I would show you lot the midfield, people. But I just feel our midfield just got overran, man. I think Hamza Chudbury, or whatever his name is, forgive me, did very well. But I just feel our midfield just got overran, man. I don't know if it was because of the fullbacks, because of how we were not really pressing. But this weren't even what they were doing. But I just feel our midfielders just got bullied off the ball. I felt when Eva was on the ball, they were quite sloppy and the passes were being swept up. I just feel one was doing this thing and people were making runners. Like, it was just 6s and 7s and an absolute shambles, people. Absolute shambles, in my opinion, tactically today against Leicester. Similar to Wolves and again, similar to Palace. But it is what it is. We could only accept it now. We've lost. It is what it is. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. People, deluded, stay safe, stay deluded. I'm out.